Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of the Philadelphia Eagles retooling on Madden 24, presented by Franchise Sim Sports. We left off last episode after the re-signing period in which we brought back Devontae Smith for his 5th year option, but otherwise we let a lot of depth players walk into free agency. We tried to re-sign DeAndre Swift for what he asked for, but he wasn't having it, so now we have a hole at running back. Looking through the offensive depth chart, we're not in a bad position on offense, but there are a couple holes we need to fill. One is that third receiver behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. The other is on the offensive line at center, as center Jason Kelce retired. I think Cam Jurgens can fill into that spot, but then that leaves Tyler Steen at right guard, and I just don't think that he's ready for that starting position. The defense is in a similar position. There aren't too many holes, but at the same time they got exposed last year, especially towards the end of the year, so a little overhaul is needed. Specifically at the linebacker position, Nakobe Dean is not ready to be the starting linebacker as we saw evidence by last year. We're going to need to draft or sign someone that's a little more dynamic. The interior is looking pretty good. We have Fletcher Cox on his last year. Cornerback is in an interesting spot. We did sign Isaiah Rodgers Sr. last year, as he was suspended for the whole year, but he's a starting caliber player. So he'll be back this year to overtake James Bradbury's spot, who absolutely is not playing.
No!
With that in mind, let's go to the first stage of free agency and see who's available. You see the top free agents this year are linemen in Tyron Smith, Trent Brown, we got Jalen Johnson from the Bears available, Michael Pittman. There's DeAndre Swift, the 4th highest rated free agent in this class. We're going to immediately offer him a contract at a little bit higher than what he was asking for that he denied. So I still think that 4 years, $9 million a year for him is pretty fair. Next I wanted to address the third receiver. Now we only have $22.5 million in cap space, so we can't go crazy with the receiver. But I did find Noah Brown. He's a pretty sizable receiver. He's not great at any one thing, but he's solid at everything. So we'll go ahead and offer him a contract. Next I wanted to address the offensive line in the absence of Jason Kelce. I found Trey Turner at right guard, who's aging, so he only wanted a 1-year deal. He's pretty solid and that's a fair offer, so I wanted to offer that deal to him. I looked at the centers, but there really wasn't anyone great on the market, especially the ones that had interest in us. Now on to linebackers. This was a position I thought was very important, because I think that Nakobe Dean can't hold down the position, and we need someone dynamic who can not only pass cover a little bit, but can make 100 plus tackles and be that ball hawk. My favorite option was Devin White. There were a couple other options as well, but you can see his stats here. He routinely makes over 100 tackles a year. He's been an anchor to that Bucs defense. I also looked at Willie Gay. He's been a good linebacker on a championship-winning Chiefs team. He's solid. His ratings aren't amazing, but he's always a good anchor in that defense. He's a little worse than Devin White. He would be cheaper, but I really wanted to sign White. White is only 26, and he has a pretty elite 91 speed rating. He's only asking for $8+ million a year, so we decided to go ahead and offer him that contract. 4 years, $8+ million. He's going to be our anchor if he accepts. So this is all I wanted to do in stage 1 of free agency. We offered contracts to 4 guys: Swift, White, Brown, and Turner. Let's see if they all accept. So contracts reviewed. Looks like Swift and White accepted. Those are the 2 main guys that I wanted to bring in. So we've addressed running back and linebacker. Noah Brown and Trey Turner still are mulling their decision, but they do have interest. So let's see, reevaluating offers. Looks like Trey Turner's on board, so now we have a lineman. Noah Brown's our only target that needs to accept his contract. We can see that we have $5 million left in cap space, which is not too much to work with. If we look at the top free agents, looks like Tyron Smith's on the Lions, Trent Brown signed to the Rams, Jalen Johnson went to the Steelers, Pittman went to the Commanders, so he'll be in division, Chidobe Awuzie on the Texans. We're going to go ahead and hit that final contract review for this period. It looks like Noah Brown still hasn't made a decision, So we're going to advance into the next stage of free agency, but I'm really glad we got Swift, White, and Turner. Heading back into free agency, the top remaining free agents look to be Connor Williams, Austin Eckler still out there, Devin Singletary. Our only target is still Noah Brown. Wanted to address linebacker a little more, tried to bring back Zach Cunningham on a really cheap deal and see if he'll accept. That's only about $2 million for him. Also wanted to address backup quarterback, as our only quarterback is Tanner McKee. So we're going to offer a small contract to Mason Rudolph and see if he'll take that. Give him about a little under $2 million for 1 year. We go ahead and reevaluate all the contracts, and looks like everyone accepted. So we got back Cunningham, and we added Noah Brown and Mason Rudolph. Then I just wanted to take a look at where the quarterbacks are ending up. Looks like Kirk Cousins is unsigned. Baker Mayfield went to the Vikings, Minshew to the Raiders, Darnold to the Patriots, Jameis Winston to the Jets, which is pretty funny. Austin Eckler went to the Cardinals, Devin Singletary went to the Vikings, Pittman, we said, went to the Commanders. Looks like Boyd is on the Bears, Beckham on the Falcons, Samuel on the Patriots. So some interesting signings across the league. Next, we move on to our private workouts. This is where you can choose 3 people in the draft to really find out a whole lot of information about them. Because we started off the year in the wild card, not too many people are scouted fully. A lot of people at 50% completion. I found a couple of interesting guys though. Dave Mooney at cornerback really stood out to me. He had B press, really good speed at 4.49, looked like a good athlete, B zone coverage, so he looked like the complete package here, and one can assume he's good at man coverage, so definitely take a look at him. Then there were a couple freak wide receivers that we wanted to take a look at. The first one was Josh Sweed. He's a 6'3" receiver out of Miami, only 21 years old, so very raw, but he's a great athlete with good speed and elite strength, and his grades are off the charts. He's already got A, short route running, A, catching, a lot of other things to like. Then there's Gerard Claxton, who's a 6'5" monster who runs at 4.44. He had a little bit of worse route running, but his spec catch was at an A, catching was at an A, so we're going to take a closer look at those 3 guys for the first round. With all that, let's head to the 2024 NFL Draft, my favorite part of the offseason. We have pick number 21, so we won't be up for a while, but the Bears have the first overall pick, and with that, they select a tight end. You better be pretty good in order for that to be a value pick. The Cardinals then go with a quarterback. That's a really interesting selection considering Kyler Murray. Patriots pick a left tackle. Commanders pick a right end from Clemson. Jumping a little bit ahead to pick 12, looks like the Broncos picked that cornerback that we were interested, so he's off the board. But that would bring us to our pick at pick 21. So what do we do here? We have those 2 receivers available. Looks like there's a top 5 talent quarterback still available. So I had to look at him. He had really good accuracies, pretty good grades, but we really don't need to address quarterback. Wanted to see a cornerback, Cliff Bozeman, B-man coverage, B to D zone, good speed, but I don't think he's worth a first round pick, especially if we have some starters. Britton Stallworth was a great prospect. A's and B's across the board, elite strength, really good athlete at right tackle, but I didn't feel that we needed a right tackle having Lane Johnson right now. I really wanted to look at those 2 receivers, Sweed and Claxton. So we take a look at Josh Sweed, 21-year-old, 6'3", 234 out of Miami with A, catching traffic, B, catching. He's an elite athlete with good speed, elite jumping, elite strength. A's and B's across the board there. C, medium route, A, short route. He's looking really good off the board. Then we look at Jared Claxton, an absolute freak of nature. 6'5", runs a 4.44. A lot of A's and B's across the board. He does have slightly worse route running with D route running, in medium. So we chose Josh Swede with our first overall pick, and man, was this a good one. He is a beast, he has hidden dev, his ratings look great. We then see that the Bucs choose that top 5 talented quarterback in the first round, but I'm really happy with our first selection. On to round 2, we had 2 picks at 15 and 21. So for pick 15, I really didn't see too many people at the top of the board, but I did see Will Woodley, an elite strength guard, a great athlete, A impact blocking, B pass block finesse, just A's and B's across the board, 22 years old. So that's our selection. We get another hidden dev player at right guard to address that interior lineman deficiency with Jason Kelsey being gone. So really happy about that. 6 picks later, looking at Sebastian Robinson, who's an amazing athlete at off-ball linebacker, has a couple good grades. That's a position that we do need to address depth-wise, so I took a look at him. Took a look at another cornerback, but again, a little bit underwhelming. B-press, good speed, but his coverage just wasn't really in a good area, so I didn't want to force it. We chose Sebastian Robinson, another hidden dev player, 22 years old. Then we go to the 4th round, and we get a 99 strength defensive tackle. This one popped out of nowhere. Hidden development, that was amazing. In the 5th round, we looked at a quarterback who popped out to my eyes. Some good speed, had decent accuracy. We got our first normal development player of the draft in Dylan Watkins. And then with our last pick, round 6, we needed a backup safety, solid athlete, solid ratings across the board, and another hidden dev player. So that's 5 out of 6 picks hidden dev. Very pleased with our first draft. This is honestly probably my best draft I've ever done in Madden, and it happens to be on the series here. Wanted to look a little more in depth into each one of our picks. Overalls are in a really good spot right now to start. Again, we have Josh Swede right here, 92 speed, 84 catch in traffic, 83 catching, really good as that third receiver. Now I'm going to go through the rest of our picks here as they flash across. You can stop and pause and look at their ratings, but I'm just so happy with this draft. Charleston Verdon came out of nowhere. I saw he had elite strength, but 99 strength is crazy. Dylan Watkins, take off that number 5. You're not wearing Donovan McNabb's number. Julius Baxter, really solid backup free safety with that hidden development. Now I wanted to look around the league. Michael Atkins, he is the real deal. They have Cole Kmet, but I mean, if the talent's there, you take it. So this looks like he could be a Travis Kelce-like player. Cardinals going Eric Sherman was a big surprise. He is a good quarterback, no knock on the guy. 73 overall with hidden dev, accuracy in a good spot, but interesting to see what they'll do there. Then Damian Parks looks really good. This was a really good class overall. A lot of high overalls, mid to high 70s. There was Jaleel Dukes, who was an 80 overall that went to the Falcons at a safety. Nate Edwards was the first wide receiver taken, 77 overall, but with normal dev. Then our cornerback Dave Mooney looked like a really good prospect. I probably would have taken him if he was there. 77 hidden dev, went to the Broncos. Jared Claxton, 73 overall, to the Dolphins. I think we got the better of the two in Josh Swede. Taking a brief look at our depth chart after the draft, we see Will Woodley slide into that starting right guard position. He can fully win that job over Trey Turner if he plays well. Josh Swede is going to be that third receiver. Not too many changes after the draft, but I think we did a great job in free agency in the draft to set us up for a very competitive season. We got Devin White there anchoring the middle. We're going to start Nakobe Dean at the outside linebacker position along with Zach Cunningham. Son Reddick and Josh Sweat will man the outside. Again, Isaiah Rodgers is probably going to start at that cornerback position when he gets back from his suspension/injury. But I'm very, very happy with the draft overall. Sidney Brown is still there too as a backup safety. He's out for a couple of more weeks, but he'll be back for the start of the regular season. And here's our specialist here. Avonte Maddox is probably going to be at corner. That sub-linebacker position manned by Devin White. Then lastly, we got into the training camp. See Jalen Hurts here throwing downfield. These were fun. Can always increase your attributes by playing these games. Kind of reminds you of those old Maddens like Madden 06, Madden 05. Man, I spent so many hours playing that back in the day on my PC when I was like 10 years old. This could occupy my whole afternoon. Here we see backup quarterback Dylan Watkins, who we drafted in the 5th round. He's throwing some nice balls there. Threw a nice one for A.J. Brown that he couldn't come down with. Hits Josh Sweet over the middle here. That was really good to see. Everything looked pretty smooth and fluid with his motion. There he hits Josh Sweet for a touchdown. Then we see DeAndre Swift here. This was my favorite mini game back in the day. Nice spin move from Swift and the dive in the end zone. Then we see first round pick Josh Sweet doing a nice out route there. He'd get a gold in his drill. Then we got 99 strength Charleston Burden from the 4th round here. Man, he is a beast. He's going to have to get playing time in this first year somehow. I know we have a loaded defensive tackle lineup, but he's going to have to get in there. He is a monster in the middle. He was able to get a bronze. I wanted to highlight this. Shane Robinson, our linebacker, got absolutely sunned by DeAndre Swift. Boy! Look at all these broken tackles. Miss right there. Miss up the middle. I mean, DeAndre Swift was just welcoming this guy to the NFL. It was ugly. I'm surprised he even got a medal. That sums it all up right there. Then we see one of our young cornerbacks, Kelly Ringo, putting in some work against Devontae Smith, defending his routes. I think Kelly should get more playing time this year. He's a really young cornerback, 74 overall. Definitely has to work on his man coverage, but he's an intriguing prospect, one of those players out of Georgia. That's where we're going to end it here. We're going to start the next episode with Game 1 of the regular season. I'm going to manage the preseason off screen. Don't have to go through that with you guys. I'm going to make some player edits and adjustments, adjust the depth chart, make some undrafted free agent signings, but we're pretty much set for the regular season, and I can't wait to dive into it. So that'll be all for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the draft, free agency. I had a great time. I love the off season. But without further ado, we'll see you for episode 3 for week 1 of the regular season. Have a good one.